Neural Analytics from the University of California, Los Angeles.
I think the last contestant stole the remote. Let's see if I can go snag that. Off to a good start. Thank you. Hello, everybody. My name is Leo Petrosian, and I'm the CEO of Neural Analytics. Neural Analytics is in the business of diagnosing brain trauma. But before I get into that, I'm going to share with you 3 facts. Fact number 1, increased pressure in the brain is dangerous, and if left untreated, it can be deadly. You're all aware of one of the causes of this. You hear about football players injuring themselves, getting head injuries, and this is in the news all the time. Though this is a major problem, it's actually a small piece of a bigger epidemic. Each year, 1.7 million Americans suffer a traumatic brain injury, whether mild or severe. That could be elderly people suffering a ground-level fall. It could be our men and women in the armed services suffering from violence. And again, it could be the athletic injuries and car accidents. But disease is also responsible for elevated intracranial pressure also. Globally, 3 million children are afflicted with cerebral malaria. Domestically, there are various other disorders that result in increased pressure. Fact number 3 is that the current gold standard method for measuring the pressure inside a skull requires a neurosurgeon to drill a hole into the patient's head and screw in a sensor. Due to the resources required and the invasiveness of this procedure and the cost and the risk, it is not done unless it's absolutely necessary. Until now, there hasn't been a better alternative. At Neural Analytics, we're building the Rapid ICP. It is a portable, handheld, non-invasive, and inexpensive device for measuring the pressure inside of a skull. It works by placing an ultrasound probe on a patient's temple. Using ultrasound, we measure the speed of the blood flowing through the brain. It has been observed that people that have suffered different levels of brain trauma, the morphology of this waveform will change. Using historical data from UCLA, we were able to build an algorithm that with 92% accuracy today, off a single measurement, can detect whether or not somebody has suffered a severe traumatic brain injury or not. Because our device is both portable and non-invasive, there are many markets we can enter with it. Immediately, we're going to get it into the hands of the first responders and into the emergency rooms. This is for the servicemen and women in the Army, and also for the 1.7 million Americans that suffer a traumatic brain injury. Also, we're going after the humanitarian application, the cerebral malaria application. That's actually a photo of Robert Hamilton, one of our co-founders, who at this moment is in Blantyre, Malawi, diagnosing children that are suffering from cerebral malaria. And obviously, we want to get this device onto the sidelines of every football stadium in America. We quantify the total market opportunity to be 100,000 devices domestically. We price it at the average of a handheld ultrasound device, which is $20,000, representing the total market opportunity of $2 billion. These are our financial projections going forward. We don't generate significant cash flows till 2016 because we have to go through the regulatory process domestically. In the meantime, we expect to deploy our device abroad and in the humanitarian application. With an unmet need so severe and a market opportunity this large, there's bound to be competition. We compete in 2 dimensions, portability and directness. The gold standard sits here. It's as direct as possible. It's a screw in the head. But it's also very stationary. The patient is confined to the intensive care unit. Our competition is positioned here. Varying levels of portability, but also very indirect. Importantly, none of these competitors have a device on the market today. We're positioning ourselves here. We're going to be very portable and very direct. It takes more than a great technology to build a great business, so we put together a great team. We have a background in clinical medicine, we have startup experience, we have engineering, computer science, and business backgrounds. To complement our core founding team, we put together a great advisory team. I wanted to highlight that we have a business advisor, scientific advisor, and medical advisor. Dr. Neil Martin, our medical advisor, is the chief of neurosurgery at UCLA and co-inventor of this technology. He isn't just a key opinion leader in this space, he's the key opinion leader in this space. When there's a tragedy in the news, he's the guy that Larry King calls to have on his show to explain what could have been done to prevent it. With the prize money, we plan to obtain exclusive rights to the 4 patents that we're licensing from UCLA, advance down the FDA approval process, which we need to, and to make improvements on our product so it better meets the needs of our customers. Now for our wish. I began by saying that we're in the business of diagnosing head trauma. And though this is a major problem, the area that gets the most press is professional football. At Under Armour, you are committed to helping solve this problem, or you wouldn't have committed $20 million to developing innovative solutions to this. Though our device cannot do anything to prevent head trauma, what it can do is give the medics on the field the information to determine if it's safe for a player that suffered a head trauma to go back onto the field or not. We believe that our interests are very well aligned with yours, Mr. Plank, that of Under Armour, and that of the NFL. And we would love an introduction to the people at the NFL that are responsible for player safety. We believe that though this market is huge, a relationship with the NFL will give us both notoriety and credibility. Frankly, we'd really hope that you would make this introduction whether we win the competition or not. In conclusion, we're building a portable, non-invasive device that can go after a major need, a major pull from the market. We've put together a great team and a great technology and a great product. It's a huge opportunity, and please help us be successful. Thank you very much.
So nice job with the presentation, Leo, and you hit the nail right on the head, pardon the pun, but the idea is, we're zeroed in on this problem, partnered with the NFL and General Electric, and so when you look at our deal that we just did, General Electric is running, fast down this road as well, and so you
Absolutely.
talk about, some of the biggest and smartest people in the world around, and it doesn't mean that they're going to win, but it gives them a big leg up. So when you talk about infrastructure, you've got a nice team there built, but what's the plan for getting this thing out? I saw your revenue projections, but how do you outpace those big guys?
Absolutely. We don't expect to outpace those big guys. So our value proposition is our intellectual property. It's the algorithm and the database that we have. General Electric makes money by selling devices. What we want to do is sell them the algorithm that goes into the devices. They're going to do the manufacturing. They're going to do sales. We actually need to find a strategic partner that will do the designing and building of the hardware and the sales support. What we want to do is supply them with the nuts and bolts on the inside that enable the device. We're not competing, we're complementing.
Got it.
And do you see your device as being a preliminary use for diagnosing this head trauma, and then they would go to the traditional kind of what you described?
We describe it as a screening or triage device, meaning that somebody that suffered a mild traumatic brain injury or has had a head hit, and you can't determine if they need something more advanced, you use our device to screen them and determine if they go further.
And do you imagine that you'll get the algorithm higher to match the kind of certainty of the traditional approach?
So when I cited 92%, that's with a single data point. You do one measurement. What we suggest in a protocol is you do one measurement, wait some period of time, you do a second measurement. That brings it up to 99% accurate.
Does it require much training of the medical staff?
It takes about 2 days of training to get a paramedic to be able to use the device.
So you said also it's a $2 billion market, so you're saying it's the algorithm that goes in or it's the device itself, so what's your cost of your device? What do you think the unit opportunity is?
So again, we price it out about $20,000 just for the sake of calculation. The willingness to pay of the customer is completely undetermined at this time because the NFL will pay a different price than the military will. How we did our financial projections, we said that on every unit sold, we were going to make $2,000, right? So we're saying that whether they sold the device for $2,000 or $20,000 or $15,000, we would take a $2,000 cut from the manufacturer's sales force.
Right, and the current machines they're using are just straight MRI, or what's detecting it today?
To detect a bleed or intracranial pressure, what do you mean? Don't
ask me that. You got the wrong guy.
Yeah, so today, the hardware that's inside of our widget is off the shelf. It's been in use for over 30 years.
Right.
We use an off-the-shelf unit that costs $17,000 that we lease for our prototype.
Got it. Very cool, Leo. Congratulations, man. Thanks.
Thank you very much.